Cool. All right, I'm going to kick it off. So thank you so much for joining me. In this session, I'm going to talk about using SMS to build relationships, empathy, and ultimately grow your business. And I have to figure out how I can change my slides. Cool. So before I get started, a little bit about me. My name is Alicia Thomas, and I am the Director of Community at Postscript. Prior to working at Postscript, I spent 3.5 years working at Klaviyo, the email marketing platform. There, I was really focused on building out content marketing and community marketing, and really focusing on helping brands figure out how to grow their businesses with email marketing. So I traveled all over the world, and I spent time with merchants to kind of hear their secrets and then share them with folks so that they could go and really own their growth. I've also been fortunate enough to be a speaker and featured on sites like Shopify Plus, TechCrunch, Performance Marketer. I'm really passionate about e-commerce education, so I'm super excited to be here today. And so I guess with all that said, in my time really getting to spend time with merchants and learn from them, I've come to believe one thing, and that is I truly believe that in a world full of hype, growth hacks, and empty promises, that businesses can truly build long-term growth by helping people. So boiled down, I believe that if brands take the approach of treating their customers like people as opposed to data points and really help take, that ultimately they can grow and have a great longevity and a lot of retention with their customer base. So that brings me to my favorite word, which is empathy. So I think the core of this idea is really being empathetic to your audience. So empathy is the ability to understand and share feelings of another. So I think we're seeing a lot of this in the last couple of months with COVID happening, and I'm going to share some of those examples today. So with that said, we're talking a lot about the future in this event, and I truly think that 2021 empathy will be table stakes. If we look back at the acceleration of e-commerce in the last 6 months and how it really has gone from already a pretty noisy space to one that's even more crowded, I think the way that brands will win is by having those relationships and conversations with brands and really building brand affinity. So finding ways to, again, be helpful and not just sending promotions, but providing delightful experiences and really feeling like you know the company and they're a part of your life. Which brings me to SMS. So I think about building relationships and personalization, and there's not a more personal inbox in the world, I guess, for consumers than their text message marketing. Their text messages. So SMS is the most personal inbox of all. Brands can get away with sending an email marketing message once a day. It can go to the promotions tab. It might go to the spam filter, junk. But when it comes to SMS, finding that right cadence of what to send and thinking about, every interaction you have is so personal. How do you make that really one that's delightful for that audience when they get the message and they're interacting with you? So I'm going to share 3 examples of brands that I think are doing this empathy-driven, customer-centric marketing exceptionally. So they're really going beyond the promotional campaigns. So the first one that I absolutely love is this company called Judy. So they make these preparedness kits. So if you have an earthquake or a fire or a flood, they have kits that you can keep in your house or your car. You can grab and go, and you'll have everything you need to survive or at least be prepared for that event. So instead of sending like 20% off or things like that, Judy takes the approach of using SMS to send out tips to help folks. So they recently sent this message out here, which is about mask care. So something that every person in the world, unfortunately, is thinking about right now is, how do I keep my mask clean? What should I do? And there's so much information going around that Judy wanted to be helpful and sent this timely message. So they've also sent campaigns out that talk about how to go to the beach safely during this time, right? Which is such an interesting idea. So many people aren't really sure, what's the right thing to do. There were some storms that happened in the South earlier this year, and Judy also sent out campaigns about how to keep your pet safe in a hurricane. So really they got very specific about thinking about what somebody who might be shopping for their product was going through, and also just how to have a timely conversation and be helpful. So you'll notice there's no CTA, buy now, or even a link, right? They just want to be top of mind and helpful. And I think this really is a great example of a brand that is showing up to be empathetic. And also it's great for word of mouth. If somebody got a tip they didn't know, they could share with a friend or family member, and it really helps to accelerate that word of mouth marketing. So my next example is from a company called Empathy, which is perfect for the theme of this presentation. Unsurprising, they are quite empathetic in their marketing. So they're a direct-to-consumer wine brand, and I think Gary Vaynerchuk is one of their founders. And so they have taken an approach that also is quite unique. So when COVID kicked off and folks were really feeling isolated, they sent out this campaign that really feels like it's coming from a friend or family member. So they reminded their community of subscribers to check in with friends and family and to connect and know, hey, maybe it's a great opportunity to connect over a bottle of wine, right? So really thinking about that experience of their persona and what they were going through. And it's a nice subtle way too, like if somebody maybe needed to get some more wine, to be like, oh yeah, this is probably a great time to reorder. So again, really subtle and very human, and it feels like a message you received from a friend or family member. I also can't see any of your questions, and I'll answer them after in the expo. For some reason, Hopin is only letting me look at my own slides. So apologies if there's chatter happening. I just can't see anything at all. And my last example is from Mave. So they're a wellness company for dogs and their humans. And I absolutely think that they're doing a great job being customer centric and using empathy in their marketing. So they sent out this MMS campaign. So an MMS is going to be a text message that has like a photo or a GIF with this cute pup here. And they asked their audience to send pictures in of their dogs. So if you know dog owners or you are a dog owner, many of them love to share pet pictures with their friends and family. So really, the fact that this brand is asking for you to send dog pictures really delighted some of their audience. And they went a step further and said, if you send us your dog pictures, we're having a contest, and we'll put them on Instagram. And so not only did they have that one-to-one conversation with their audience, they also were able to repurpose a lot of that content and use it in their marketing as well. So Mave did a really good job with this campaign. They've also sent campaigns out that are really simple and just asking, hey, what's your favorite dog park? It's a great way to, again, have that conversation like a person, and also in that example, collect data on your audience too, right? So maybe in a post-COVID world where there's going to be a time to have a dog park meetup, they'll have enough information that they have a core group of dog owners who live in San Francisco at this certain park, and they should have a pop-up event. So really interesting ways to feel like they're texting like people and going back and forth. And a lot of these messages that folks are sending that have that human aspect, we see that brands get back messages where just consumers are so delighted. I think right now too, especially when folks are very isolated, or they're on their phones and they want something fun to distract them. It's kind of a nice surprise, right? It's a positive interaction you're having with a brand. So if you look at all three of these campaigns, they really come back to that idea of being customer centric, right? So what is my audience going through at this time? How can I send a relevant message that isn't totally marketing heavy, but also I can stay top of mind in case they do need to reorder something, or in case I want to just remind them that I exist, right? So I think they've all done a great job of really having that human aspect. And with that said, I know that coming up with ideas like this can seem super overwhelming. It's really hard to think about creative ways to market that aren't the traditional promotion or sale, things like that. So Postscript recently launched this website called Really Good Text. So if you're familiar with Really Good Emails, it's kind of in the same idea. We have tons of different messages broken down by industry, by automations, by campaigns, all full of examples for you to go and get inspired by. So if you're thinking about SMS, or you're doing SMS and you're like, oh, I wish there's just like some other way I could do things, or I wish there was a resource of examples, this is it. It's got tons of examples. We're adding to them daily, and really we want to help empower people to send really good messages. I also want to plug the fact that we have a marketing certification, SMS marketing certification. So it's free and it's for anyone and everyone who is looking to get into SMS or just wants to be a better SMS marketer. It's a 2-hour video course that covers everything you could possibly want to know, from compliance to sending campaigns to analyzing your analytics. So there's a ton that folks are unsure about in SMS, and we really are here to make sure that no matter what platform you're using or what approach you're taking, that you're sending great messages that are really respecting that most personal inbox. So we really hope that folks will take the certification and will feel empowered to explore SMS or really continue to grow out their program. So thank you. I know we wrapped a little bit early, but I would urge anybody who's interested to check out the SMS marketing certification. That website that I was talking about with all the examples is reallygoodtext.com. We've got a bunch of conversational examples on there as well, similar to the example that I showed you from Maeve, Empathy, and Judy. And really some unique ideas that I think you can kind of take into 2021 and find ways to continue to have that conversation and really stand out amongst such a crowded space already. So I'm going to jump back over. I don't know if it has loaded. So let's see. Will you giving tools? I don't think it refreshed. So I'm going to hop out of this session, and if anybody wants to go over to the expo, I'm happy to answer any questions about SMS you might have. And I think that's time for it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you over at the expo booth. Bye.